Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome to another episode of the Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I'm so thrilled to have each and every one of you here with us today. Whether you are tuning in for a dose of inspiration or just a moment of calm, you're in the right place. Now, before we dive into today's topic, just a quick reminder. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to tap the screen, like, comment, and share. Your support helps us to connect with more amazing people like you. And if we're not friends already, be sure to give us a follow, subscribe to the channel, so that way you never miss out on our latest content. I also invite you to visit our website at theselfcareclub.org. We've got some awesome affirmative apparel, motivational merch, and a bunch of free resources designed just for you. It's all about empowering yourself and embracing your journey. No matter what challenges you are currently facing in life, remember that you're not alone on this path. We are in this together, supporting and uplifting each other every step of the way. It is time for us to choose to prioritize our well-being, to embrace our growth, and to find peace in the present moment. So let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together.
In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
All right, so our topic of discussion for today is when enough is enough. We're going to talk about how to stop spinning the block. And listen, there's no need for us to feel guilty about it, right? We've all spent the block a couple times, right? We've all, been guilty of revisiting people, places, relationships, situations that drain us. And I thought it was really time for us to begin to talk about why we keep spinning the block on things in our life. Why we keep repeating history again and again. And so, one of the big things that I just kept thinking about is, okay, not only are we spinning the block on things, but we're spinning the block on things that don't even serve us. Like, we're spinning the block on things that were never actually meant for us. And so today I want to talk about how do we stop spinning the block so that way we can finally break these cycles, right? So, my initial disclaimer, as always, with anything that we do when it comes to self-care, this may be a little bit messy because we know that growth is messy, right? So around here, we embrace the mess. We like a little mess, right? Misunderstood. Thank you so much. And so, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm honestly here to help you shake free from the loops that are keeping you stuck. So that way you can finally step into what it's been for you, right? We're embracing a new year and, everybody's always like, new year, new me. Well, let's make sure this new year we step into the new me, right? Let's actually really embrace what that is and really start to walk in our purpose. So today, my only request from you is that we dive into this unapologetically. All right? Let's be honest with ourselves. It's like we can lie to other people, but we can't lie to ourselves. We know what it is. All right? So again, enough is enough. And if something resonates with you today, that's what I want you to type in the chat. Enough is enough. All right? So first and foremost, let's talk about why, right? Let's get into the why. Why do we spin the block? And so let's take a moment to just unpack this. Why do we keep circling back? Why do we return to the same relationship, the same bad habits, the same situations, right? That didn't work out the first time. They didn't work out the second time. It's not going to work out the third time. So the first reason why that I came up with was the illusion the illusion of control, right? One of the biggest reasons that we revisit old situations is that we think that we can change the outcome. We tell ourselves this time it's going to be different. But let's be honest, how often does different actually happen? It's like rearranging furniture on a sinking ship. You can move things around all you want. The ship is still going down. So trying to control an uncontrollable situation is a form of self-sabotage. It is, something that deep down is not going to work out. But you lie to yourself. Because everybody else see it. They won't tell you. But everybody else see it. The second reason I came up with why we are constantly spinning the block is we prefer comfort over growth. I'm just saying, Kel, enough is enough, right? We get comfortable, and we'd rather be comfortable than to step out on that growth, right? Welcome in. Growth is uncomfortable. And so familiarity, even when it's painful, even when it's hurting us, sometimes feels safer than stepping out into something new. It's like wearing a pair of shoes that don't fit anymore. They hurt your feet, but breaking in a new pair seems like too much effort. So you just keep walking around with them blisters, your feet packed in them shoes that don't fit no more, because you would rather have comfortable over growth. But let me ask you this. How long are you willing to live with discomfort because it's familiar? Enough is enough, right? So the third reason that I came up with is that some of us, it's me, I'm some of us, right? Some of us have a fear of being wrong. Admitting something isn't meant for you can feel like you're admitting that you're wrong. Maybe you've invested years into a relationship, energy at a job, or love into a friendship. And walking away starts to feel like a loss, right, Trey's mom? Welcome in, Wanda. So all of a sudden now when you think about all the time that you vested in this relationship, in this job, in this friendship, in this situation, you think you've convinced yourself that walking away is a loss. I'm losing something. I'm missing out on something. But you have to realize that staying stuck doesn't mean reclaim what you've lost. It doesn't even allow you to reclaim what you've lost. If the relationship is over, no matter how long you sit in it, baby, the relationship is still over. If you find yourself tied to some sort of habit, or, you're stuck in a particular rut or, situation, and you keep just sitting there, you're not going to find growth. There's no growth there. There's no improvement there. In fact, it is costing you more. It's like a game of tug of war. At some point, you have to realize that the longer you are pulling on this rope, that you are hurting yourself. That rope is anchored on the other end. There is nothing that you are going to pull. So at some point in life, you have to understand, I just need to drop the rope. My hands are raw. I'm physically in pain. Enough is enough. And so the last reason that I came up with was hope. And we all understand that there's a shadow side to hope. We got a positive and we also have the negative, right? And so we know that hope can be a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. But let's be real. Sometimes hope keeps us trapped. We cling to the potential of what could be, even when reality is right in front of our face, screaming to let it go. We stay tied to people that we shouldn't. We stay trapped in situations that we shouldn't. Or that's that faith without work. Oh, I got faith that, it's going to all work out. Where we miss the work out part. We were so busy hoping that everything was going to work out that we stopped putting the work in. That's that shadow side, right? And so, as I was making my notes, it made me start thinking about a time that I refused to let go, right? And during this time, y'all, I spun the block so hard that it made me dizzy, okay? I was in a friendship that felt one-sided, but I did not want to admit it. So I kept telling myself, she's just going through a rough time. Once things settle down, she'll show up for me like I'm showing up for her. But time passed, years passed, nothing changed. Every single time I reached out, I felt like I was chasing her. It was like this unwanted, unneeded game of cat and mouse. And one day I had sent her this long, heartfelt message telling her how much I value her in my life, how much I want to deepen our relationship, our friendship. And y'all know what the response that this heifer gave me? It was a thumbs up emoji. Y'all, it wasn't even a brown thumbs up. It was the yellow one. That's when you know they just gave little to no regard. And we have been friends for years. So I thought, right? But that little emoji, that lack of effort was my wake-up call. I realized that I was pouring into a relationship that couldn't pour back into me. Not because she wasn't capable, but because she chose not to. And yeah, y'all know it hurt. But walking away was one of the most liberating decisions I've ever made. Walking away from that situation was something that I feared for years. You're right, Winston. It is draining. And I was afraid to walk away for years, thinking that I was going to be missing out on something. But the moment I walked away and I put it in my rear view and became focused on what was ahead of me, I realized that I wasn't losing something. I wasn't losing someone. I was gaining something. Peace of mind, freedom, joy, reciprocity. I gained it all. And y'all know who I found as I kept going? Me. Things got brighter. The sun was out. And I wasn't seeing it before because I was standing in somebody else's shadow. I didn't realize how great my life was because I was so busy trying to help somebody else sort theirs out. I found joy. Right? And we have to also understand that there is a psychological side to spinning the block, y'all. Right? Let's get scientific with it for a minute. Because understanding the why is what helps us break free. Right? We got to get to the root of it and understand why we keep doing this. So some of the things that I think about, the first thing that I think about, getting into the science of why is our attachment styles. And if you've never taken an attachment style quiz, I need you to do it. Okay? I need you to go to Google, find a little free quiz, and learn what your attachment style is. If you're in a relationship or a friendship and things seem to be a little off, encourage them to do the quiz to determine their attachment style. And so when you learn what your attachment style is, it tells you how and why you interact with people in the manner that you do. And so the way we form attachments in our childhood often shapes how we approach relationships as adults. So that little girl in you might be the common denominator. That little boy in you might be the reason that you're having these failed relationships, failed friendships, right? If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, you might find yourself clinging to situations that mirror inconsistency. So it's very important as an adult you find out what your attachment style is. Like I said, you guys can go to Google, look up attachment style quiz. There are free quizzes everywhere. We know that we can't heal the things that we don't feel, but we can't learn from what we don't take the time to study, to research. So again, today I challenge you to learn what your attachment style is. I'm telling you, when you figure it out, it is going to open up. Like it's going to be like the sun just comes out and shines specifically on you. You are going to be like, damn, that explains it, right? And you know, we have to understand that it's not our fault, right? What happened to us growing up, the environments, all of these things, that's not our fault, right? But it is our responsibility to recognize the pattern. It is our responsibility to do the work to heal it. So we can't keep running through life as these hurt little boys and hurt little girls, then hurting people along the way. So take the time to figure out what your attachment style is. So that way you can create a plan on how to move forward, what to do next. So then the next psychological side that I thought about when it comes to spinning the block is something known as dopamine loops. Every single time we revisit a toxic situation, our brain releases dopamine, which is the feel-good chemical. Hey, Marty. Okay, so every single time y'all run back to the old boo, every single time y'all get back comfortable in your old ways, right, your bad habits, every time you get off track and you go back to where you just left from, your brain releases dopamine. So that's why every single time you get back into the old thing, you like, this feel good, this is nice. What up, LaFleur? You like, oh, this is nice, I miss that. That's why your old boo always feel good when you show up. When you go back for your little, late night booty call action. That's why I always feel so good, because your brain has tricked you and released some dopamine. You're going to show up and you're going to be like, I remember the good times. And then you're going to do the walk of shame and you're going to feel like shit, because your brain had the opportunity to catch up. And your body is now in sync to realize, I should have never come back here. Congrats, D. LaFleur. Your body and your brain are all of a sudden aligning like we never should have been here, right? And so this is one of the reasons that people stay in unhealthy relationships and unhealthy friendships, right? That they chase this love that isn't really love at all, right? They think that they're chasing love, but really they're just lusting after something that was never meant for them. So this cycle becomes addictive. And even when it's harmful, for some reason, a lot of people just can't let go, right? And then the last thing that I thought about was the sunk cost fallacy, right? This is the belief that because we've already invested time and energy and resources in something, that we should just stick with it. This is where we get that mentality of, that's my man, I'ma stick with him. We done been together for years and I know he ain't shit, but I'ma stay. He hurt me, but we had some really good times when we first got together. Right? So we think that because we've invested energy into something, that means that something deserves to stay in our life. But here's the truth. There's no amount of investment that can make a bad situation good. There's no amount of time, effort, money that can make a bad situation good. So now that we've unpacked the why, y'all, we got to talk about how. How do I stop spinning the block and start moving forwards? Because y'all remember that scene from National Lampoon's Vacation where they kept circling Big Ben? And they was just like, hold on, like, why are we on this never-ending loop, right? It was nice the first time. Okay, I saw a couple things the second time, but by the third time, I'm like, what am I doing here, right? We need to be able to move forward because there's more things to see than just Big Ben. So we got to figure out, how do I move forward? How do I get off of this never-ending loop? I don't want to keep repeating this. And some of us, it's not even that we keep repeating it with the same person. We keep repeating the same thing with multiple people. Again and again and again. Because we haven't taken the time to identify the source. We've never taken the time to get to the root of it. And so, as we begin to break this cycle, we have to start by, again, first and foremost, identifying your triggers. Figure out what your triggers are. Ask yourself, what is pulling me back? Why can't I break this habit? Why am I still chasing this person, this situation that I know is not good for me, that I know is not healthy? Why do I keep doing it? What is pulling me back? Is it loneliness? Fear? Guilt? Naming your triggers or identifying your triggers is the first step to breaking their power, the hold that it has over you. And again, our second step, we got to be honest. If you're not going to be honest with anybody else, I need you to be honest with yourself. And I want you to practice radical honesty. Hey, Nikki. Be brutally honest with yourselves. Is this situation serving you? Is it aligned with your values and goals? And if the answer to that question is no, it is time to let it go. You don't have to wait until next week. You don't have to wait until next year. In this next moment, right? Within the next minute, the moment that you realize the answer to that question was no, it was time for you to let it go. It is time for you to begin to start to set firm boundaries. See, a lot of times when we think about boundaries, we think about setting closing the door for some people, some relationships. And we forget that we've got to set the boundaries for ourselves. This is a bad habit that I have. Or this is something that is holding me back and stopping me from growing. So I have to stop myself. I can't wait for someone else to stop me. Oh, I feel a certain way about a situation. I can't wait for somebody else to feel that way. I feel that way. So now I've got to set firm boundaries with myself. Welcome back, Blue. And we have to understand that boundaries are non-negotiable. non-negotiable. We got to let our no's be no's, not negotiations. So if someone or something isn't respecting your peace, it is time for you to cut the wall up. Keep it there. Welcome in, chaos. You have to protect yourself. And sometimes the protecting ourselves is from ourselves. Sometimes we're the person getting in our way. So again, I need for you to practice radical honesty. Be real with yourself. Set your boundaries. And then I need for you to replace, not just remove. Some of us have a problem with, okay, we remove things out of our life. We remove people out of our life. We remove jobs and hobbies and things like that. We just pick it up, boom, out of sight, out of mind. I need for you to replace it. Right? Yes, you got to set boundaries with yourself, Nikki. So when we remove something, I need you to replace it with something better. Something that pours into your cup. Something that fills you up. Something that brings you joy, right? Because if all you do is remove it from your life, you're going to constantly feel like you're missing out on something. Welcome in, Sally. You're going to always feel like you're missing something because you've removed something. So now there's a hole, there's a gap. Something's off. And if you don't take the time to replace it with something that is filling your cup is still going to stay empty. And you're going to say, but I got out of that toxic relationship. We don't go together no more. But you're not refilling your cup. You're not replacing it. So when you let go of something, you need to fill that space with something positive. Welcome in, Janelle. You need to fill it with something that is pouring into you. Whether it's a new hobby, a healthier relationship, right? Just because you broke up with that sucker don't mean you got to stay single forever. Just because that relationship didn't work out and that relationship didn't serve you doesn't mean that, you know, the next relationship is going to drain you. So you get out there, you find yourself a new hobby. You find yourself a new, healthier relationship. Even if that healthier relationship is you loving on you. Because that's what a lot of us have failed to do when we're in toxic relationships. We couldn't love it on ourselves because we were so busy chasing the love from them. So I'm going to get rid of Tyrone's toxic self, right? And I'm a pour into me. I'm a love on me. That's going to be the first relationship that I step into. I'm going to replace chasing after that man over there with, let me take an opportunity to listen to God for a second. Let me check back in with that relationship. That's probably why I got off track in the first place, right? My spiritual self-care started failing. You must begin to make time for you, to focus on what you're gaining, not what you're losing. Because at the end of the day, a relationship that you get out of that was not pouring into you was never meant for you. Enough is enough. And lastly, you have to seek support. We were not created to do it all by ourselves. Do you know how many people are in this world? And we are constantly having more children, right? So we are constantly growing and evolving, and it's a never-ending thing. So we must understand that we don't have to do it alone. Thank you, Brittany. Hey, Shani. We do not have to do it alone. This is the time for you to lean on your community. Whether it's your friends, your family, your life coach. Shameless plug, I'm taking new clients for 2025. You know, lean on me. Find your people. Get the help that you need, that you deserve. And you know, we can't talk about spinning the block without getting into some cultural references, right? We've always got to talk about, you know, what role society plays in this. And so when I think about spinning the block, you know, I can't talk about it without talking about how society glorifies this. Because we know that culture plays into every single thing that we do. Be it through movies and music and, you know, TV, right? They often romanticize the idea of going back. Think about all of those rom-coms that we watch, right? Where the main character gets back with their ex in the end. Or these songs that make toxic love sound so passionate. You know, Beyonce, and y'all know I love me some Beyonce, honey. But she be having us confused, right? Because she be like, we be all night in love, right? But let's not forget, she also said, boy, bye. They spin in the block, time and time again. But they put it with a dope beat, and we just sing along. That's why we keep taking Tyrone back. That's why we keep sliding back into these situations that aren't meant for us, because it sound good and the beat was catchy. Right? Now we getting a little messy. You like, hold on, that's my song. Y'all listen, it's my song too. But that don't mean it's not toxic. And then when we start to let go, there's a real messy piece to it. And it's the piece that many of us are trying to avoid because nobody likes it, right? The hardest part about letting go is the grief. Come on, Kel, you better tell them learned ain't love. The grief is the hardest part of letting go. The admission that this is a failed relationship, a failed situation, right? Because when we let go of something, we tend to think that it's a failure on our part. I wasn't good enough. I didn't get it right. I messed up. Not realizing that making mistakes is a part of the human process, and we're human. Letting go often feels like losing a part of yourself, especially if you've tied your identity to that other person, that place, that thing. So you're not just letting go of a situation, you're letting go of the version of yourself that existed within it. And that's hard. But here's the thing. Grief is also part of the process. It's the bridge between the old you and the new you. So you have to let yourself feel it, but you don't have to allow it to stop you. I said grief is a part of the process. It's not the whole process. And this is where we begin to do things to, process our emotions, right? We start to journal. We start to seek therapy or counseling or just the peaceful embrace of the people around us, right? And so one of the activities that I have, some of my clients do who are in, a season of transition in their lives, I have them write a goodbye letter. And so if there's a situation that you feel like you are struggling to let go of, whether it is a relationship, a friendship, a job, a situation, a bad habit, you know, if whatever it is that is blocking you from leveling up to the next stage in your life, I need you to write it a goodbye letter. So for anyone who is struggling to let go of whatever it is that you have decided it is time for me to let go of, I want you to write a goodbye letter. In fact, everyone can do this instead of a resolution, right? Let's decide to reclaim something. Not spin the back, not take the old thing back. Everybody should write a goodbye letter. Goodbye to the 2024 me, right? I gotta let her go. I can't take her with me next year because I got plans. I'm off to bigger and better things in 2025, right? So write a letter to the old version. Write a letter to the situation, right, that you want to let go of. And I want you to write until you can't write no more. It ain't got to make sense. You ain't got to worry about the punctuation. This for you. It ain't for nobody else. But I want you to pour your heart into this letter, honestly, saying every single thing that you've been holding back. You can tell Tyrone how you really feel, right? And when you end the letter, come on now, I think I found my people. When you end the letter, I simply want you to write, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. So, bad habits, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. Addiction, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. Tyrone's toxic ass, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. One-sided friendships, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. Toxic family members, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. Procrastination, baby, I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. I release you. I let you go. I ain't holding on no more. I dropped the rope. Ball in your court, game over. Take the ball home with you. You can have it. I don't even like that sport no more. Right? I release you. You are no longer a part of my journey. I didn't erase you. I just released you. I want you to be free. Right? I want you to just go be great. So I can go be great. Right, Ms. Malloy? Keep the letter if it helps you process. Or you can burn it as a symbolic act of the release. When you stop spinning the block, when you finally let go, you're going to notice something amazing. Space. When you decide to release it and declare that it is no longer a part of your journey, you are going to notice that you have more freedom, more space, ultimately more room for you to breathe. You will have space for new opportunities. You're going to have space for healthier relationships. You're going to have space for personal growth, space to breathe, to rest, and to reconnect with yourself. Don't that sound like everything we want for 2025? Y'all tell me, what are some of the things that you want for 2025? Hey, Shan. Hey, Capo. Hey, Sweets. What are some of the things that you want for 2025? Because, baby, I'll take a little more room to breathe. Podcast, music, blog. No, seriously, though. I would love more room to breathe. I want more opportunities. I want more growth. Sweets, you want a new brain? Listen, we're gonna go to the wizard and we're gonna get you a new brain. But for now, we're gonna love on the one we got, okay? Because we need that brain. That brain is amazing. So in 2025, I want new opportunities. I want healthier friendships and relationships. I want to grow in 2025. Lord knows I need some rest, right? Less anxiety. Come on now. And as you're thinking about all of the things that you have to look forward to, yes, a healthier marriage, yes. All these things that we have to look forward to, you know what the best part about it is? When you let go of all the things that aren't meant for you, you make room for what is. God does not advance us in a situation until we've outgrown the current one. Thank you, sweets. I can remember my pastor telling us a story about when he was growing up, how his parents did not replace the children's shoes until they outgrew the other ones. And so no matter how dirty they were, no matter how ugly they were, they figured out a way to repair them if they still fit. They did not purchase them new shoes until they outgrew the other ones. And the logic behind it was that if you can still fit these shoes, but I go out and buy you a new pair, you got to break that new pair in, right? So it's easier to just slide your foot in the old ones because you ain't got to worry about them getting dirty. They already dirty. But the moment you put the new pair on, everybody like, wipe your shoes off, keep your shoes clean, don't do this, don't do that, right? So I don't even want the hassle of wearing the new shoes. Give me the old pair back. So his parents wouldn't buy them new shoes until they outgrew the other shoes. And so he told us that that's kind of the way God is operating with us. We're not going to get out of this current situation until we outgrow it. Right? So we're not going to level up to the next space until we outgrow this situation. Because God knows our heart. So he knows that all we're going to do is keep backsliding, that we're going to keep taking on this. Right? So he's like, nah, just let her do it. That good old free will, let her do it. I mean, ain't no sense in me removing Tyrone if she just gonna use the forwarding address to go find him. Right? So again, when you finally outgrow a situation, you outgrow a friendship, you outgrow a relationship, all of a sudden, things start to shift. God is like, oh, hold on. Look at little Shantae over there. She done finally let Tyrone go. I've been holding on to Prince Charming for a minute, keeping him close. Because I spent time on this man getting him right for her. But she was in love with Tyrone. But it don't look like she going back to Tyrone. I know her heart, and he don't even live there no more. Somebody send Prince Charming over there. Let me show her what she been missing out on. Because now she'll appreciate this man. She'll appreciate this relationship. Right? Let me go on and bless this baby. She done made room in her heart. Not just for another man, but when she let go of Tyrone and started loving on herself, y'all, she done found me again. Right? My God is chill. I don't know about y'all. Okay, he speak with a little slang because he speaking a language that even I can understand. And so I feel like even in my personal life, I had a series of horrible shit relationships, y'all. Like just ain't shit relationships. And I would get out of that ain't shit relationship just to step into another ain't shit relationship. And they had a tagline, y'all, for years. Every single man that I was with, in that transition phase of leaving one ain't shit person and getting with another ain't shit person, that I don't know, there was like some secret code, some hidden group chat that I wasn't aware about that said, oh, tell her she's worth fighting for. That gets her every time. So I get out of one relationship And as I'm trying to truly leave this relationship, new boo, like, you know, you're somebody worth fighting for. And I'm like, I am. Oh my gosh, thank you. You have to go. I'm with him now. So I left this toxic one and moved over to the next toxic one because he said I was somebody worth fighting for. He see my worth. He recognized me, right? He know my name. Only to realize, oh, he meant I was somebody worth fighting. So I've traded one evil for another. So now I'm in this relationship and he meant the fighting for was fighting me, fighting growth, keeping me captive, controlling me. That's the fight that he was talking about. I just didn't understand. So I lose another part of me. And see, in this relationship, the I'm worth fighting for, he was not a believer, right? His connection to the universe just was. So I'm chasing this man, thinking that I have some sort of say, some sort of control. Not realizing that it was something else holding on to him altogether. But I ain't recognize it because I ain't about that life. Like, I ain't seen the devil. So, you know, sometimes he be pulling up and I don't necessarily know, oh, that's the devil. Right? Because I ain't about that life. Like, I don't identify with that. Never have, you know? So, in this relationship, it was disguised. I thought it was good. Until I realized it was bad in every sense of the word. And in this particular relationship, I didn't even realize it was bad. Because I kept making a list of so many good things. But I had all this trauma hiding the bad stuff. And so, you know, they tell you when you're in a relationship that when you're determining, do you stay or do you go? They always tell you that, you know, your elders will tell you, make a list of the good and bad. And as long as the good outweigh the bad, it's worth fighting for. That shit's a lie. That's a lie. Because, baby, I made a list. Okay, I made a list. I checked it twice. I called myself finding out who was naughty or nice. It's a lie. Okay, I made a list of all this good stuff. And then when I made the list of bad, I didn't realize that I had suppressed so much bad. Right? I didn't realize that there was so much bad hiding in the closet and swept under the rug. I suppressed it. So the good always outweighed the bad. I wasn't honest with it. And he kept wrapping it up and packaging it up. So it wasn't until God set me down that I realized where I was going wrong. It wasn't until, you know, I knew the relationship was toxic. We broke up like July. And at this point we had been together for 9 years, y'all. And spent a whole decade of my spring chicken youth, y'all. So, like July, we break up. But me, I was afraid, what we talked about in the beginning, y'all. I was afraid of letting go of where I was comfortable. I didn't been with this fool for 9 years, you know? I'm comfortable. Shit. We got a house together, a dog, 4 cars. Like, I'm living the life. Picket fence, all this, right? So I didn't want to let go of where I was comfortable. So when we broke up, at this point, my clock is ticking. I'm like, hold on. I want to have a baby, though. I know that this relationship is toxic. I know that I am being abused mentally and physically and emotionally, and I'm being blocked spiritually. I know all these things, but like, I want to have a baby because, you know, babies fix things, and this is the ideal relationship for me to bring a baby in, and I'm gonna love the baby for both of us. You know, even though he already got other babies with other people, I'm gonna be the one that changes him, right? So in my mind, I'm like, I want to have a baby. Even though we broke up, I just put him out. I changed the locks. I still want to have his baby because like we've already been together for 9 years. So I take him back for the sake of me wanting to have a baby. Because no longer is it God's will, it's my desire. Hey, Kate, right? So I decide, you know what, Nacho? I want to have a baby with this ain't shit sucker. And I've lost sight of God's plan because now I'm all about Shantae's plan. I've decided that I'm going to place revenge, and you're going to stay in my life because we're going to have this baby. You owe me that. I've given you 9 years. 9 good years of me, right? You're going to give me this baby. That's what I deserve, at the least, right? So I had to go through fertility treatments. And so I began to go through this process, and you know, it wasn't a secret. He knew. His toxic ass knew exactly how to keep me trapped, right? So he's like, yeah, let's have a baby. I don't even want you to have a key to my house, but I want to have your baby. Like, I'm smart. I have a plan, right? And it was like, I can just put him out. So in my mind, I was like, okay, cool. I can endure like 9 months with him. I'll use him. Because that's what I was thinking. So I'm like, oh, we can have a baby and I'll stay with him for 9 months. And then after I have the baby, then I'll just get rid of him. Thank you for my kid, right? So what happens? I get pregnant. I get pregnant with not 1, but 2. And during this time, I'm like, cool, great. I got what I want. I know that I'm not in love with this person. I know that this is not the ideal person that I need to have a baby with. I've been helping him take care of his other babies with other people. So I can only hope that the next woman is as good as I am to help me take care of these ones that I'm about to have, right? And so I completely lose sight. I prayed and prayed and prayed to get pregnant, right? Then I get pregnant and the prayer stops. The pouring into me stops because now I've traded my desire to be with him with my determination to be a mother, with or without him. So my spiritual self-care was null and void. Like I didn't need nobody. I was all I needed. So I'm so infatuated and I'm thinking, yes, I'm on target. I got this. And it must be right because it's happening, right? So I'm not wrong in wanting this man to give me a baby. I'm not wrong because it's happening. What's for me is for me. That's what I thought. Until I miscarried. On Christmas Eve. And I'm like, hold on now. Like, that's not for me. That's not part of my plan. And so I got mad and I got angry, right? For the first time in my life, I began questioning God, like, why would you give it to me and then take it from me? You know? So I had spent the block so many times that I had just lost myself completely. Thank you. I had just lost myself completely in the process, right? And so it wasn't until God set me down in that moment. It wasn't until God humbled me to tell me, I gave you exactly what you asked for. I gave you exactly what you've been begging me for. Because the whole time I was trying to get pregnant, I said, you know, I don't feel like a woman not being able to have kids. And, you know, and I said, so if I have the ability to do the fertility treatments, and y'all, the injection shots were like $1,000 a pop. But I was blessed with a job that actually covered it. Shout out to JP Morgan Chase, right? They cover all your stuff. So I was able to take the shots and do. So I felt like it was right. I took matters in my own hands, right? Even though I was in a toxic relationship that wasn't healthy for a baby, I was like, I got this. I don't need nobody else. I could do this myself. So it wasn't until God set me down and said, I gave you exactly what you asked for. You asked me to show you that you're a woman. that you are capable of having a baby, right? Because all the tests over the years said there's nothing wrong with you. It's just not happening, right? So God gave me exactly what I asked for and showing me that if he wanted me to, I would. But he also had to flex on me and say, I didn't want you to, so you won't. It is time for you to stop spinning the block. See, I lost sight of something that was so valuable to me because I was chasing this toxic relationship with this man that was not for me. He was never for me. Those beautiful twins that I got to love for the time that I got to love them, that wasn't for me because it wasn't God's plan for me. And it took me some time to really understand that. And I had really got humbled after that. And it's, you know that there's growth taking place when a woman can say that the miscarriage was for her good. I went through the grief. I went through the hurt and the pain. But I've also learned that it wasn't for me because it's not what God had for me. Right? So I go through this state of depression. Right? Now I'm mourning. I'm grieving. I'm going through all of these things. And all of a sudden, all these other things are being revealed to me in a sense of I'm starting to see life in a whole new light. Right? But it wasn't like a negative light. I'm literally starting to see things for what it really is. So all of the suppressed trauma, right? All of the things that I've denied, I'm starting to recognize you're somebody worth fighting for. See, they weren't lying when they told me I was somebody worth fighting for. And y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, there's already somebody else sniffing around. So I ain't even fully out of this old thing yet. Even after the miscarriage, I'm trying to pick up the broken pieces, right? But at this point, the relationship had really taken a drastic turn because he knew that I was weak. So that is when he began to cross the line to physically abusing me. He was like, I already got her mind. I ain't worried about it. Let's level up. Right? So that is when he began to physically abuse me. And I was never a person who was, I'm going to inflict harm on myself. But at this point, I had decided I don't really care if you inflict harm on me. Nah, I've lost the fight. But the more I went through my grief and my depression, the more I started realizing they didn't lie when they said I was somebody worth fighting for. The problem is I stopped fighting for me. Right? So as I'm going through this and I'm starting to realize I'm worth fighting for. The next new boo, right? My next ex sniffing around. He show up and he like, you're somebody worth fighting for. I'm like, here we go again with this shit, right? Like, why do you say that? And of course, this one got a whole nice little story to wrap it all up in as to why I'm somebody worth fighting for. So much so that he begins to even intervene with the person who is fighting me. So I'm like, oh, this different. There's been a confrontation. He really loved me, right? He's my protector. And so, once again, like we always do, I trade one for the other. But then the next one, although he never laid a hand on me, he broke me down in a way that I would have rather taken a black eye or a busted lip, right? He broke me down in a way that he made me feel good in ways that were never good for me, right? He pushed me to get out of one situation, but I didn't realize why he wanted me out of the situation. I didn't realize the ownership. See, he recognized that I was a prize, but he wanted me to be on his shelf. He wanted to make me his because it's what he wanted. Okay? And so he loved me in a way that gained control so that way I would be what he wanted me to be. Thank you, Focused. And so I fell for it because it didn't hurt. I thought I was healing. I thought he was helping. Hell yeah, I went straight from the skillet to the fire, Kate. Right? With gasoline draws on. I was like, okay, take me. Right? And so in that relationship, I traded more of my youth, more of, my time. And it felt good for a while, and then it didn't. And then I spent it black and it did. And then it didn't. So I had just gotten so comfortable in our relationship is complicated. People be like, are you married, single, divorced? It's complicated. That was me. My little at the website, this was me. It's complicated. And I like it though. We toxic. It's cool over here. Because he don't hit me. He don't hit me. He don't yell at me or nothing like that. But I didn't realize that this is still not okay. This is still not ideal. And so in this relationship now, this is my fiance, right? He finna put a ring on it. So he controlled me with the title. Like, yeah, we can get married. Even though, y'all, he never actually asked me. There was never really a ring. But, we engaged until Valentine's Day. When my girl calls me like, you okay? I'm like, why? She's like, oh, you didn't see it. I'm like, what do you mean? My fiance proposed very outwardly, very publicly to his now wife. But I'm like, hold on, like, we ain't even broke up. What is happening? So once again, I'm forced to sit and grieve something that I didn't even realize ended. I'm starting to realize where I went wrong again. So now I got to do it all over again. I got to stop. I got to take time and realize, hey, this ain't for me. This ain't it. I started seeing all of the patterns. And the biggest thing that I realized, because y'all, at this point, I have written down every relationship. I done wrote down every man's name, all their toxic traits. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the same and this is the same. But like, this man is different and this man is different and this relationship is different and whatever. Y'all, I had went back to like the 5th grade boyfriend. And the only thing that I could link that connected them all was me. I was the common denominator. Like Kate said, I kept going from the skillet to the fire every single time. Jumping in again, and again. So at this point, I finally realized it's me. I'm the common denominator. I need to work on me. I need to start healing me. I need to break this cycle. Even though them putting their hands on me, disrespecting me, cheating on me, abusing me, even though those things are not my fault, I am the problem. So now I'm single, entertaining, right? And when you're dating, guys always ask you, why are you single? Like, that's the dumbest damn question, right? Why are you single? So I would just start saying, oh, it's me. I'm toxic as shit. And they would be like, what do you mean? Well, I attract ain't shit people. My mama used to say that I attract the broken birds because I'm a healer, right? And it's something my grandma used to say too. You're a healer by nature. You want to nurture people. You want to fix what's broken. So you're always going to attract these broken people because you have the ability to fix them. But the problem is they don't want to be fixed. So you're going to attract them and you're going to try to bandage them up and repackage and repurpose them. But they don't even want that. So it's not going to ever work out. Because see, people who don't want to heal won't ever heal. So at this point now, I'm like, oh, it's me. So I'm going through life now recognizing, hey, it's me, but not in a bad way. I'm not blaming myself. I'm just holding myself accountable, saying, I've got to get off of this train. Like, I got to stop this. So now I'm guarded, but not closed off, right? I'm guarded. I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting my peace, but I'm not closed off. So let's fast forward to this new boo, right? I'm still entertaining the old one, y'all. I told you I like toxic shit. What up, bruh? So I'm still entertaining my ex-fiance who got a fiance. Right? Listen, I'm there. What up, Tasha? I'm still there, right? Because we like toxic shit. We hold on. So when the next, in my eyes, I called them all my next ex, right? So when the quote unquote next ex came up, I was like, listen, you said you came in on the right part of the story. Listen. So when my quote unquote potential next ex arrived, I'm like, I don't know that you want these problems. Like, I'm toxic as shit, and I didn't even realize it, you know, but I attract ain't shit people. So can you just tell me why you ain't shit so I can see if this is what I really want to do or not? But the whole dynamic of things were different because I had now taken this time and I had started healing myself, right? And I started seeing myself for who I was. So I get into this next relationship. Spoiler alert, we've been married for 7 years. Okay. So I get into this next relationship and I'm guarded, but I'm not closed off. I believe in love, right? But I'm guarded because I'm like, waiting for the ball to drop. Waiting for the ball to drop. I would say the first 5 years of our marriage, I was waiting for the ball to drop, y'all. But he kept showing up. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, hold on, it's time for me to make a list. Because, like, we've been married for 5 years now. Like, I got to make a list. So I pull out the list, y'all, and I'm like, okay. I go to my therapist, and I'm like, okay, this was this ex, this, and this. But when I come to this list, like, I don't have none of this toxic shit. Like, this is too good to be true. I'm trying to convince myself that this happy, healthy relationship cannot be real because I've never had a happy, healthy relationship. So now all of a sudden I'm self-sabotaging. I'm getting in my own way. And so thankfully being in therapy and being with a man that I can just openly discuss things with, I had to tell him, hey, I'm broken. I'm broken because of years of toxic mess and things that weren't meant for me, breaking pieces of me. But I still have all the pieces. I just need help putting them back together. So like I'm broken, I'm flawed, I'm perfectly imperfect. But the good news is if you can help me put these pieces back together, it'll be better for you. And that's what my husband does. He helps me put my broken pieces back together. For him, right? Because I had to grow. And you know, in the process of me growing and him seeing me grow, and he'll tell you, he's growing too. And like I said, we fast forward to the good parts, right? We just celebrated our 7th year being married. Right? Still healing, still growing together, still helping each other fix the broken pieces. He's experienced heartbreak too. When I tell you that man came to me with trust issues, honey, listen. But we were guarded, not closed off. You're welcome. So when I tell you that identifying your triggers, being radically honest with yourself, starting to set boundaries with yourself, replacing things, not just remove them. See, the problem with the exes is I would remove one. I wouldn't replace it with something better. I would replace it with something equal. right? You know how you go to the store and they give you a deal and they'll be like, buy one, get one free. But that free item has to be of equal or lesser value. So, y'all, I was on this lifelong BOGO, trip where, okay, the next one had to be of equal or lesser value. Like, I was never leveling up. I was always choosing the next man that was of equal or lesser value. Which is why my relationships kept looking the same. So at some point I decided, you know what? I just want to buy one and get one that I buy. I don't need the freebie. You can keep that. I don't need your discount. I don't want this relationship discounted. I don't want this love discounted. I would rather pay 100%. They'd be like, but ma'am, it's a penny. I'll take the dollar. Take the damn dollar. No more discounts, right? So I started watching what I was listening to, the people that I was hanging out with, the movies, the music, all of these things that were telling me that the toxicity was good. I had to start to eliminate it. Start to get that stuff out of my life, right? And I had to begin to, again, hold myself accountable and acknowledge I'm broken. There are pieces of me that are broken. But I have the ability to put it back together again. And I don't have to do it all by myself because I wasn't created to be alone. We're created to pair up, to find our mate, right? So I went through the grief. I mourned the losses, the failed relationships. They failed because they were never meant for me. The miscarriage. It was never meant for me. God gave them to me to show me who I was and to reveal to me that He had more for me, right? And so all of this that I'm telling you is because I want you to understand what happens when you finally let go. I love you, Tasha. I want you to understand that space that I'm talking about is real. Okay? When you stop spinning the block, that space for new opportunities, new love, new relationships, the personal growth, it is real. That space to breathe, that time to rest, that time to reconnect with yourself, it's real. If you would simply just let go of what's not meant for you, God will reveal what is. But if all you do is keep making your plans, you don't have time for His plan. You must trust His process. And understand that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. Listen, hear me out, Tasha, hear me out. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means learning from it and using that lesson to move forward. Every situation, even the painful ones, teaches us something. And our job is to take that lesson and leave the baggage behind. Learn the lesson and let it go. Stop spinning the block. Enough is enough. And so let me leave you with this. If I ain't got nothing else to tell y'all today, stop spinning the block. Stop revisiting these situations that drain you. Stop trying to fix what's not meant for you, was never meant for you. Instead, pour into yourself. Invest in your growth. And start surrounding yourself with people and opportunities that align with your purpose. You deserve better. You are better. And the moment that you stop looking back is the moment that you can actually start moving forward. And I know that was heavy. I told y'all today was going to be a little bit messy, and y'all can expect tomorrow to be messy too, because there is a part 2.
I found my room to